Check your ego at the door. Today I'm with Joe McGarry and we're going to talk about this week's fundamental. Good morning, Joe.
Thanks, Terry. Good morning, Broad Street.
Joe, and thanks for being with me today. What can we each do to make sure that we have a healthy ego and not egotistical?
Yeah, so that's a really great question, and I think there's a number of different ways to do it. But I think what's really important is to first and foremost, remind ourselves, on a regular basis, and that could be every day, every week, however often. But that there's not one thing in this world that makes one person better than anyone else. Whether it's intelligence, wealth, socioeconomic status, religion, race, and you name it. There's not one single thing that could make another person better than another. So I think that's important to always keep in mind and keep fresh. And I think some better things to do on just sort of like a daily basis, are to always walk into every room as if each person is your equal. To never be overconfident in what you know or believe, and to always be respectful and open to others with different opinions, and to never think that yourself is the one sole source of knowledge in the universe, because that's just not true. I think it's also important to always stand up for yourself and others when you see people being treated unfairly, and when you see other people having an ego. I think it's important to check people on that, because oftentimes an unchecked ego results in a very egotistical person. So I think that's also very important as well. And then I think the last thing is to always be humble and never let yourself think that you deserve better than anyone else for any reason. Everybody deserves the same treatment that everybody else gets, and for any one reason or another, there's no reason to think that we're entitled to anything better than anyone else gets.
Excellent. So you made some really, really good points on having a healthy ego and not being egotistical. So to piggyback off of your remarks, we all need to remember to do what's best for the company, our client, the team, or your family. It's not about you. And frequently, the best solution for the team is actually the best solution for you too. So letting go of your need to be in control, or to be right, or to be recognized for all that you do. These are simple examples of healthy egos, and being a healthy member of a family or a team or an organization, whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just thinking of an example, and I'll use a Caps example, given that they're in the playoffs right now. But a couple weeks ago, when Ovechkin broke Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record, the first thing he did, when he was given the microphone, was to thank his family and his teammates and his coaches, because he really knew that he could not have done it without them. You have to have good teammates. You have to have family in your corner by your side in order to do something as incredible as it. That was a really good example of someone who one of the best athletes in the world, showing that they don't think of themselves at first, and that it first
Right.
comes to the team.
Right. So that's a really, really good example of something that just happened that everyone, especially in this area, can relate to, of putting your personal ego aside and recognizing everyone that's involved in helping you get where you got.
Exactly. Yep.
And so as usual, I'm going to close today with 3 quotes that speak to this week's fundamental. The first one is by Colin Powell. Don't let your ego get too close to your position, so that if your position gets shot down, your ego doesn't go down with it. The second one is, the minute you start compromising for the sake of massaging someone else's ego, that's it. Game's over. Gordon Ramsay. And the last one is the ego can be the great success inhibitor. It can kill opportunities and it can kill success. Dwayne Johnson. So again, Joe, I want to thank you for being with me today. Your thoughts on this week's fundamental. Broad Street, check your ego at the door and have a great week.
Thanks, Terry. Have a great week, everyone.